Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brendan Plays. This is Total Extreme Wrestling, all elite wrestling, save one episode of Dynamite away until it is our AEW Revolution pay-per-view. As you know, lots has gone down in real life. You know, lots of signings. Last episode, we picked up Paul White, so we've replicated that. Now, of course, we know the other big one, Christian Cage, has joined AEW. So we've done the same thing. We've brought in Christian Cage as well. Now, on our game, he had 55 popularity. I've actually bumped that to 65 because I think that's more of an appropriate level for him. So the big question will be, how are we going to use Paul White? How are we going to use Christian? And my answer is, I don't know. I really don't know. I've been thinking about it for the last couple of days, how I'm going to go about using Paul White. And I really don't have a lot. And now we know it's Christian joining AEW. I've been trying to think of, okay, what's a good potential matchup for Christian? Now, obviously, I would love to have him in the mix for the world title. Is that too soon? Should we wait? There's been a lot of things that's been going through my mind. How should I approach using Christian? And, you know, it's been a bit difficult. It's actually been a little bit tricky for me to come up with something for him. But we'll get into that in a moment. Let's take a look at his stats. So, in-ring wise, 64 brawl, 67 technical, 55 flashiness. Those are some of the highlights there. Psychology is great, experience is great, mic skills are fantastic, all above 80, star quality of 74, so should have no issues of gaining popularity. Basic selling, consistency, and safety, all great. Stamina's a little low, 70, but that's okay. We can work with that. And even if we wanted to transition him into color commentary, 64 as well. Hey, that's not too bad. So far, so good. Now, of course, his injuries, you know, that's probably the major concern with him. His head is at 53, arms and legs in the 60s, body at 77. So head-wise, he may have some issues there. Could potentially pick up a few head knocks that may cause him to be out for a while. So let's hope that doesn't happen. He's 47. I still think Christian has a lot to give. I know there's been a lot of rumors and controversy about what went down with AEW's big hyped up signing. I'm actually pretty happy that Christian's joined AEW. I think out of all the people that realistically could have joined, I think Christian's probably the best out of the lot. So, you know, because Lesnar, Cena, Rock, CM Punk, some of the names that people were throwing around, they were never going to join. That was never a possibility. So for AEW to pick up Christian, it's a good get. That is a good get. So I'm excited to see how he's going to go. And the other signing, of course, AEW made was Ethan Page. Now, we're going to bring him in as well. I will be honest, I don't have a lot of care for Ethan Page or a lot of high hopes. But he's got 29 pops, 33 in the Southeast. Skills-wise, pretty average across the board. Fundamentals are pretty decent. Basics is okay, 78. Stamina's good, 76. But aerial, flashiness, technical, there's nothing special there. Mic skills are pretty lousy. 67, 69, actually, that's pretty good. That's above average. That's not too bad. But, you know, there isn't a lot. There's nothing really special about him just yet. So that's, you know, a little bit of a concern. 40 star quality as well. So he might have more of a tougher time here. But what he might bring to the table is another solid lower to mid-card guy on the roster. And we know that we've been having issues with our mid-card. You know, it kind of goes from upper mid-card to, that's it, you know, to the bottom. There's no real in-between. Now, Ethan Page could help try and bridge that gap a little bit. Ricky Starks, Will Hobbs, some of the other guys there that could help create a more of a solid foundation in the mid-card. So yeah, a couple of new signings, pretty exciting. Now, Ethan Page, looks like he's more of a heel. You know, he's got the big ego type of thing going on. Last episode, we said we were going to bring in Paul White and go with him as a heel. I've switched that. I'm going to go with him as a babyface. Paul White, I don't know how much in-ring work we're going to do with him. He's going to do the color commentary. We're going to do that. So I'm happy with that. Now, we'll get into AEW Elevation in a moment, but that's going to be some issues around that show. But Paul White coming in, I feel like he could be someone that could be on the Elite's team. So here's what we're thinking of doing soon. You know, we've got Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, they're on a team. You got Cody, you got Adam Page, the Young Bucks, they could form a team, or you could go Paul White. I got to get used to that. Paul White instead of the Big Show. Paul White could join that team as like a surprise third man or fourth man, however many guys we're going to throw into that match. I could see him kind of being used in that way as a big guy to kind of, he's a big name. He's not involved. He's not the centerpiece of a storyline, but he's there. He's a special attraction. He's a special addition to a team in that sort of feud. Beyond that, I'm not 100% sure. I don't really want him feuding for the championships or anything like that. His skills, they're still okay in some areas. Basics are still solid. Stamina 65 is a little low. He's got the power. Mic skills are pretty good. Psychology's good. So there are some good fundamentals, but there are obviously some glaring weaknesses about him. And obviously his age of 48, how well will he realistically perform? I don't know. Lots of question marks about Paul White, but the thing is, it's another guy to join our roster. He could potentially help put over some young guys. Some good matchups with Paul White, Lance Archer, even Will Hobbs would be a nice one. Brian Cage and Paul White, I think, would be a great match. So you could kind of have him work with some of the big guys, and most of our big guys are heels. So you got Brian Cage, as we said, you got Lance Archer, both are heels at the moment, so you could definitely have him work with them. On the contrary, Christian Cage, we're going to bring him in as a heel. Now, my idea for Christian, is basically the opposite of what Edge is doing on the WWE. Edge is coming in, he's the big hero, coming back. Everyone wants to see him have the big, amazing comeback story, wins the world title after all these years of being injured. It's amazing, it's special, blah, blah, blah. Christian, on the other hand, look, my career was taken away from me. I'm here to make up lost time. I've been disrespected for long enough. People have always said I'm not good enough to be a main guy. I'm not good enough to be a top star, the world champion. I'm here to prove everyone wrong. My career is taken away from me. It's time that I come back, and I haven't got much time left, so I need to make the most of it. I'm going to beat everyone I possibly can. I'm going to prove to everyone that I'm better than everyone. Always have been, always will be. Even at this stage of my career, I'm still the man. I can still perform at the best, and I can still, as he says, outwork everyone. So that's something that we kind of go with, more like I suppose a bit of legend. I did call his gimmick just Captain Charisma, just to keep it, just so it's Christian, so it's not completely relying on the bitter legend sort of thing that we're going with. So that's kind of where we're going with Christian, a heel run, but potential matchups. That's kind of the big question there. Who's going to face Christian? Now, if we look at just baby faces in the main event, there are some options. Adam Page, Cody Rhodes, those are probably the two big ones that come to mind. John Moxley, if we want him to go for the championship. Young Bucks, no. Sting, probably not. I highly doubt that. Jeff Hardy, at this stage, probably not. I don't think Jeff versus Christian is a match that really would appeal. And of course, Jeff Hardy, technically not in AEW in real life, but he's our custom signing that we've got here. And he's more so back to elevate the tag division with Matt Hardy. And of course, Matt Hardy would be an option as well, but yeah, at this stage, probably not. Miro, not a bad pick. He's the TNT champion as well. And that's probably where we want Christian to maybe start. I don't necessarily want Christian to be in the world title picture straight away, but I don't think we want him to linger for too long until he gets himself in that mix. Down the card, Darby Allin might be a good one. Even Jungle Boy for a short-term feud might be a couple of good matches in there as well. So as you can see, I just don't see there's one big standout feud. Probably the one that appeals to me the most might be a Cody Rhodes. But the problem with Cody Rhodes, he's kind of knee-deep in this rivalry at the moment with Kenny Omega. So the timing of Christian to come into the company isn't quite there yet. So even though we might bring him in and debut him at Revolution, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a lot happening for him. So Christian might be back, but I don't think there's a big storyline waiting for him or a big feud. It might be a few weeks of Christian just kind of being on TV, picking up some wins, showing that he's coming back, going through some of the up-and-coming stars, having good matches on TV, and then he kind of gets that big rivalry. He starts to kind of, make some waves maybe, and that big feud comes along when some of these other ones do end, and these other guys that are currently in feuds, they kind of open up a little bit. So I'm excited to have Christian back and wrestling in the real life, and even more excited to have him available for us to book here in TEW. I'm just a little bit worried about what he's going to do. I'm not sure, but I think once we get him going and we get over that stigma of, okay, he's got to be in major storylines, he's got to be this and that, and we just kind of have him on TV, we just have him working, I feel like we'll get a bit of a gauge where he's at, and we can kind of go from there. But anyways, let's move ahead. Revolution is our next show. We've got one more episode of Dynamite to get there, so we need to have one last big show, no pun intended, before we get there. Now, of course, speaking of shows, AEW, of course, has unveiled a new show, Elevation, and we wanted to replicate that. So we were looking to try and bring Elevation in, which would make it our third show, but we're not allowed to do it. Reason being is because none of our broadcasters want to sign a deal. They don't believe that AEW can handle 3 shows. So even if it's on YouTube, even if it's on a different network that we're not currently on, anything, every network says, look, I don't think AEW is good enough to have 3 shows. So it means we have to kind of stick with AEW Dark, and we can't really do Elevation. So I suppose what we could do, instead of having the 3rd show, is, I suppose, elevate the current one that we have. So what we could do is, of course, instead of having the 3rd show, is maybe extend Dark to 1 hour and 30 minutes. So a little bit longer of an episode of Dark to kind of show that it's maybe 2 in 1, and go from there. So at the moment, our current announcers for Dark are Excalibur, Taz, and Colt Cabana. We'll probably take Colt off and kind of put Paul White in there. I still kind of want Taz in the mix there doing commentary because he's not on Dynamite. But we'll probably add Paul White and, I don't know, Tony Schiavone or Excalibur. I mean, in real life, it's Tony Schiavone, so maybe we'll replicate that. But I think Excalibur probably does a good job as well. But I suppose we do need a stronger play-by-play guy. So, yeah, Tony Schiavone could probably do the job. So that's kind of where we're at there. So we won't have a 3rd show, but we'll do Dark that little bit longer, and I suppose that's going to be replicated in our next show. So let's go ahead and book this week's episode of Dark. Alright, AEW Dark, let's get into it. We open up the show with members of the Battle Royal coming out there, and they had a bit of a scuffle, as some of the big guys out there as well. 52 rated brawl in the end, as you'd have to picture more than 8 guys out there. Just a brawl breaking out to try and prove who's the favourite heading into the upcoming Battle Royal. And we had a tag match to follow it up as well. Redbeard, Cage, Kingston, and Hager teamed up to take on Hobbs, Dustin Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, and QT Marshall. Best of the match was Brian Cage, 61, no real surprise there. Jake Hager, 57, not too far away. Brian Cage picked up the win, he beat QT Marshall, 52 rated match. Next, Nyla and Vicky were out there, and there was a promo battle happening there with Big Swole involved as well. 44 was the rating there for that segment. Not bad, actually. Gained storyline heat, so that's good to see. Max Caster was doing a bit of a rap, making fun of the Varsity Blondes for 39. Then the match, Caster and Pillman Jr., 27. Yeah, not enough popularity between these two, I suppose. Probably could have had this in the pre-show, but look, I wanted to take a risk. I want to try and get these guys on TV that little bit more, try and move them up the card. So a couple segments there for Caster and the Varsity Blondes. In the end, Brian Pillman got a bit of revenge on Caster, beating him in a 27 rated match. We had the Dark Order in a segment as they were kind of hanging out backstage until Eric Redbeard caught wind of it. He was obviously fuming after getting in that brawl earlier on and kind of hyped up and pumped up. He picked up the win in that match, but probably not happy that he didn't have the big spotlight in that match. Well, he came backstage and he saw the Dark Order just doing nothing instead of, working out or getting themselves in better shape or preparing for their next attack. 46 in the end, so Redbeard kind of getting angry at all the Dark Order and taking out his frustrations on them for 46. So, look, at the moment with this storyline with the Dark Order, I'm not too red hot on Redbeard, obviously being the leader of the group. In real life, they kind of just went, look, we won't have a leader, we'll just kind of be a group. And I don't mind that idea, because I'm not too sure if I want to go and put Lance Archer with the Dark Order. But we'll have to kind of see where we're going to go with it and reevaluate. But Redbeard, for now, for the time being, is not a bad short-term little problem solver until we eventually get rid of him. Janela and Kiss took on FTR for 48. FTR dominating them, beating them in 7 minutes. No surprise. Cash Wheeler 68, Dax Harwood 64. Afterwards, Tully Blanchard said that FTR are the best tag team in the world for 59. Did bring the storyline heat down just a little bit as well, unfortunately. Thunder Rosa was interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and she was talking about how much it would mean to her to win the women's championship. And this was good, 53. So currently, the Thunder and Britt Baker storyline has 50 plus heat, and it's a good position to really be a really good match on pay-per-view. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. Proud and Powerful took on SCU in our main event when Proud and Powerful defeated them in 17 minutes. Santana 57, Ortiz 61, Frankie Kazarian 49, Daniels 53, and Jurassic Express or ringside. Overall, 54 rated match. Post-match, well, Proud and Powerful said, look, you guys are watching our match, you might as well get in here and fight, and so they did. So the two teams went back and forth, and they brawled to close out the show. So 55 for that segment, and it gives us a 51 rated episode of Dark. Alright, Dynamite is ready to go. Let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to open up the show with the New Elite. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and Kenny Omega taking on SCU. 70 rated match. Kenny Omega clearly the best in the match. 86. Gallows 52. Anderson 53. Kazarian 47. Scorpio 49, as was Daniels 49. Of course, the New Elite pick up the win. So yeah, I wanted to give a match here to kind of show off this new group and also try and maybe help elevate Anderson and Gallows through Kenny Omega, and I guess the best way for Kenny to elevate is through actually having matches itself. So I thought a win here might help. Not quite post-match, but after that match, the next segment, Cody Rhodes and Adam Page say they're not interested in starting a war between the Elite, the New Elite, the Old Elite, whatever. They just want to have their friend back. They just want Kenny back together. They just want to sort out their differences. So Cody kind of not waving the white flag, but saying, look, we're not trying to, start an all-out war here. We'll do what we have to do at the pay-per-view in our match, but at the end of the day, we just want things to go back to the way they were. So 84 for that promo, hyping up and building for the Kenny and Cody match at the pay-per-view, which is good. Miro and Lance Archer went to a double DQ thanks to Park interfering and attacking both guys. Miro 64, Lance 63, 69 match, pretty good. That's a good result from that. So I figure we haven't had these two guys go head to head yet. They've had some battles, some brawls over the last, few weeks. So instead of doing Park and Lance again, I thought, okay, we'll have the champ involved. Double DQ to protect both guys, and also a reason to kind of get Park involved a little bit more there. So 69, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. The Young Bucks say that it's now personal with the Inner Circle after the Inner Circle's ambush last week. 84 rated promo from the Young Bucks, really good. So we're going to have Matt versus Sammy Guevara in the main event of tonight's show. So fingers crossed that match goes pretty well. Jon Moxley has a 99 rated segment with Darby Allin. Tony Schiavone's there as well. Tony is interviewing both guys, kind of mediating this conversation as they both agree, Darby and Moxley, to have a hardcore rules match at Revolution. So the reason why I've called it hardcore rules rather than a specific match, because I don't know what the pay-per-view broadcasters will technically accept, but we will do something along those lines. So, you could probably just, picture that the match that we're going to pick out is what they're talking about. So rather than going specific, we just go a bit more general. But obviously, yes, it will be some sort of hardcore rules match between these two, and they'll probably try and beat the crap out of each other. So maybe a death match, I don't know. But Moxley and Darby, 99 rated. So this is easily a great way to fast track Darby, hopefully to 60 plus popularity. That'd be fantastic if we can get him there. But great segment, really good. Thunder Rosa and Evil East went one-on-one. Thunder Rosa was at 45, Evil East 40. This match probably bringing the show down a little bit. They do have great chemistry, so this is a potentially good rivalry down the line. 35 rated match in the end. Post-match, it was a beatdown. Baker and Kong got their hands on Thunder Rosa and took her down. So Britt Baker's trying to weaken Thunder Rosa, who obviously she sees as a huge threat just before her title defense. 47 for that one. We then had Jim Ross mediating a conversation between the Hardys and FTR as both teams discuss who is the best team in AEW and why. 68 rated for this one. So the overall premise of the storyline is, FTR believe they're the best team in the world, and they will be the best team of all time when it's all said and done. The Hardys, obviously, they're the legendary team. They should be renowned as one of the best teams of all time, maybe the best team of all time, up to the debate. But FTR trying to prove that they are already better and will accomplish far more than the Hardys ever will. So, yeah, heels being heels, and the Hardys just want to try and get into AEW and prove that they can go. So 68 for that segment. And it advanced. It didn't get any storyline heat, but it just keeps it going, which is okay. Brian Cage defeated Billy Gunn for 66. Cage 68. Billy 46. So Brian Cage probably the clear-cut winner, I would say, or the clear-cut favorite to win the Battle Royal. I don't know if he'll win it. I think at this stage he's my pick to win it, and we're certainly building him up to be the favorite, if not the guy who more than likely will win. So, reason being, Brian Cage, we really want to move him up to main event status, and a big TNT title match, maybe against Miro, that might be a good feud going forward. I don't know. 66 nonetheless for this match. Post-match, Taz hyping up Brian Cage's chances of winning the Battle Royal. So Ricky Stark's there as well. So Taz doubling up there with Cage and increasing the storyline heat for the Battle Royal match. 61. The Inner Circle have a 79 rated promo on the Young Bucks. Actually, not as good as the Young Bucks promo, which is quite a surprise to say the least. So yeah, a little surprised by that one. Main event was Sammy Guevara, Matt Jackson, 67. They do not have any chemistry. Are you kidding? Oh, it's so frustrating because things are going well. This show was really lining up to be a big one, and then the main event bombs. Wow. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We went for a steal the show as well, so we really went all out with this match. And I think the steal the show worked. It got it to a 67, but they just had no chemistry. Sammy Guevara 49, Matt Jackson 61. We probably picked the wrong buck. We should have had Nick Jackson instead. Sometimes it just doesn't go to plan. Now, we tried changing Matt Jackson's gimmick, but he's refusing to allow me to change it because he's the EVP. He's got creative control, so he says, nope, you don't get to touch my gimmick. So he's just going to have that stale rating going forward. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. Well, the final segment of the show was actually Sting and MJF. MJF called out Sting. He wanted to know an answer. He challenged him last week to a match. Sting came out. MJF had this big plan to ambush him. It failed. Sting was ready for it. He attacked Wardlow. He, scared off MJF. Sting took care of Wardlow and accepted MJF's challenge. So I guess you could say, went for the 2-on-1 attack. Sting pulled out the baseball bat. MJF ran for his life. And Sting took care of Wardlow. Scorpion Death Drop, down he goes, grabs the mic, accepts the challenge, 90 rated segment, and we're all ready for MJF and Sting. At this point, MJF and Sting should nearly be the main event. My goodness, it has been big storyline heat between these two. Cannot wait for it. Sting, I tried and tested it. He is able to have a match in our save, so he should be all good to go. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it'll go down well. Sting and MJF one-on-one, 90 rated segment to close out the show, 73 rated overall. Geez, you have to wonder how good this show would have been if the main event didn't bomb. Maybe 75 plus. Because I think if they didn't have bad chemistry, I think that match was probably going to be 75 at least. So, very disappointing in the end, but still 73 overall. I'll take that. I'm happy with that. 3 really good promos on this show, and a good opening match. Miro and Lance was good too, so 3 decent matches. Overall, yeah, that's a good show, and we're all ready to go for Revolution. Alright, the rundown from the 2 post-shows. First, NXT drew 5,000 fans. Adam Cole, Karrion Kross, 86 rated main event for an 80 rated show. look, the title was on the line. That's probably the biggest match they could produce. Cole 83, Cross 62. Still got 80. Wow. That is a really big carry job from Adam Cole. Io Shirai, Candice LeRae 83 as well. Both women pretty good. Io Shirai 82 though. Very, very good. So they drew 903,000 viewers. Not too bad. All right, for us, we got 835,000 viewers, 833,000 viewers in particular. So not too bad, 1.11 TV rating. That's okay, that is okay. Of course, the 500 viewers. Now, I am thinking about extending the people allowed in the venue just a little bit. Now, obviously AEW had, 1,300, maybe 1,500 at the pay-per-view. So maybe we'll do something similar like that. But obviously, the TV venue, we're currently getting 500 people in there per show. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe, upgrade the venue a little bit. We could add another 50 people pretty easily, 100 people pretty easily. So I might just kind of ease the COVID a little bit, and we might add another 100 people. So 600 people now able to attend our shows. It won't make much of a difference, but you never know, a small little extra revenue gain, it could make the difference. Tony Khan's given us some new goals. All right, let's take a look at what Tony Khan wants us to do. Okay, so I'm not sure what the new goal is. I suppose Jon Moxley, yeah, it looks like this one. Jon Moxley must be kept above 71 popularity in the USA. So Tony Khan does not want us to mess with Jon Moxley. He wants Moxley to stay red hot, and that is fair enough. And I don't think he will drop below that. I mean, at one point he did. He did go down there when he lost to MJF, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm not sure what the future for Moxley is beyond Darby Allin. I think a feud with Kenny is probably going to happen. Maybe revisit MJF and Moxley again. Those are some possibilities, but I highly doubt he'll drop below that mark going forward. So yep, so some good ratings. Obviously our next show will be Revolution, 3 days away. We'll have a quick little look and see if we had any popularity changes before the show. So Cody Rhodes, very close to touching 70 across the board. He is 70 in the Southeast now. So he was at 68 at the start of the month, so he's moved up a couple of points. Obviously a big promo recently. Adam Page, I'm not sure if he had the same treatment. He's at 66. Maybe a slight little gain for Adam Page, but nonetheless, good news for Cody. If we can get Cody 70 plus, that'd be fantastic. I really think our roster needs him there. Kenny's at 71. Young Bucks, no real improvement. I mean, Matt Jackson kind of had a bad match, and I think that might have hurt his popularity a little bit. MJF 66 popularity. I think he'll get to 70 or very close to after the pay-per-view. And Sting now has 80 popularity, so he's jumped up again another point. It helps when he's just doing great segment after great segment, but it's good news nonetheless. Darby Allin, 47 popularity now. That's a good sign. Not a huge improvement for Darby, but hopefully if he has a really solid match on pay-per-view, that might be able to elevate him just that little bit more. Wardlow, 49 pop for him, even though he hasn't really been doing a lot of wrestling. Just these MJF segments are really helping him out quite a lot, so it won't be long until he gets 50 plus. I guess he's getting the Sammy Guevara treatment a little bit in that way. Maybe Jake Hager treatment, probably a better way. Gallows, no improvement for him. Anderson, he's at 47, Anderson, so he's actually going ahead of Luke Gallows that little bit. So Gallows needs to try and catch up. He has gained popularity. He's gained 1 this month, so that's good. And I guess that match he had probably would be the best match he's had in the series. Yeah, definitely was. So that's good news as well. Ricky Starks, 37 pop, so hopefully he can get himself to 40. But other than that, not too much improvement elsewhere. Down the card, Thunder Rosa obviously coming into the big match at the pay-per-view. She's got 34 popularity. It's been tough going to really elevate her. We haven't quite done, I suppose, a good enough job to get her in that position. But hopefully, once again, the pay-per-view does bring about a little bit of a change. Britt Baker's at 36 popularity, so that's okay. But the women's still proving to be very, very challenging. We are having decent segments, 50 plus, but I guess we're not quite delivering as well as we should be in the ring. Alright, so before we get ready to wrap it up, Ethan Page joining our roster. And as we said earlier on, we'll probably bring him in as a heel. I think I'm going to let him continue to work Impact and anywhere else he wants to be. He's in an A1 as well. So it'll be a handshake deal, pay-per-appearance deal, so he won't be tied in, locked into us. Rio wants a pay rise as well. She wants a $200 pay rise. Well, we haven't used Rio in a while, but I think she is due to come back for us, so I suppose she'll be back any minute. And Otis, his contract is up. 66 popularity for Big Otis. Do we want to bring him in? He started the series at 58, wow. So they actually have got him over as well. Not just in real life for a while there, but in the game. You know what? He's got actually some pretty good stats. 83 charisma, huh? That is some crazy stats for Otis, but for us, it is a no from me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to Revolution, we have to just quick little look at the storylines. Inner Circle Young Bucks. Yeah, that match has brought it down quite a bit. FTR and Hardy's 64, a little bit underwhelming, but good news. Moxley Allen 87. The Elite and Kenny, that's gotten a lot better. The TNT title match 65, that's pretty good. MJF and Sting is 86. Wow, very good. 51 for the Battle Royal. 42 for Nyla and Big Swole, that's not too important. Proud and Powerful Jurassic Express 57. The Acclaimed Varsity Blondes 40, that's fine. And Baker and Rose are 49 for that one. So some good storyline heat, some a little bit lower than perhaps we would have liked, especially Inner Circle and Young Bucks. Maybe a couple of promos can elevate that a little bit. But overall, good momentum heading into the pay-per-view. Things should be looking up. And look, Ethan Page is joining us, Paul White's joining us, Christian Cage is coming in as well. It's going to be some exciting stuff. I guess Ethan Page might debut in the Battle Royal, I suppose. And I still might think we might have Paul White debut in the Battle Royal. A surprise entrant there as well. You know, easy way to kind of debuting. So maybe we could have Paul White and Brian Cage come out from the Battle Royal because Paul White was able to eliminate Brian Cage as the winner. Or we maybe can have Brian Cage eliminate Paul White there to pick up the win. And you know, Brian Cage is bragging for weeks about, you know, how he was able to eliminate Paul White, the Giant. So a couple of ways we could go there, but it could bring us a nice little feud short term afterwards. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this one. Next time, it will be Revolution. Do not miss it. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like on it if you did enjoy it. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.